Hi! Yes, I am back. It's been more than 3 months and I'm finally back with another video. How's the setup? I think this could be my new setup. Who knows? I have this habit of changing everything every time, all the time. So we'll see. Today we are going to review one of my top 5 favorite reads, and that is Ashley Poston's 7 Year Slip. I read this book in an audiobook format, and the reason I picked it was that I was seeing reels about this book like everywhere on Bookstagram, and I was careful to not see the plot of this book, so I did not know anything about this before starting. But yeah, so I was just traveling one day, and I was like, and I have to kill a lot of hours, so why don't I just listen to an audiobook, right? So I began listening to this book throughout my journey, and I finished it as soon as I reached home because that's how interesting this book was, and I could not stop it at any point. Let me tell you the premise of this book. Imagine you have an aunt and you both are like very, very close in the sense that you guys take trips together, you guys share stories about your life, and your aunt is so beautiful in a magical way that she tells you about this apartment that is magical, and she tells you all these stories from her life that as a kid, obviously, you would believe. But when you grow up, you find out that magic is not real and that your aunt was just telling you tall tales. That is the story of this book. We have Clementine, whose aunt and she were very close throughout her childhood, but one day she passes away. And now Clementine inherits her aunt's apartment, which is like so big and bougie, and it just doesn't feel the same to her because her aunt is not there anymore. And I think Ashley Poston deals with the grief part very, very beautifully. You can literally feel Clementine's pain through the words. But this is where the premise gets interesting because as she sleeps and wakes up the next day, she finds a man in her apartment. And now she's all scared and worried like, who is this man? Why is he here? How did he get here? And she starts ushing him away. She's like, go away, why are you here? And then she finds out that her aunt actually told him that he could stay. And she's like, that's not possible. She died. And then he just laughs at her and he's like, no, she did not die. She's just away at some place like how she usually takes a vacation. That's when Clementine realizes that the apartment is not the same as yesterday. Things were in different places and things just felt different. That's when she realizes that she has in fact slipped back in time, like one of her aunt's stories, 7 year slip, and this man is actually in the past. But how is this possible, right? This is not normal. That's the magical realism aspect of this book, and I really, really appreciate how properly it is being done because it's not really in your face, but it's also the main premise of the book. And yeah, I mean, she and this new guy, they start talking to each other, and she pretends to be his roommate because she can't really tell him that she's from the future. So they both start talking, getting to know each other, and he gives her a really cute nickname, which I'm gonna let you guys find out for yourself. And we have so many really well written cooking scenes, and honestly there were times when I was like, I want to taste that because that's how well it was written, as if I was literally there watching it being cooked. um so yeah, so now we know that she's in the past, she's going back to past, and sometimes she comes back to the present. And in the present, obviously, she has a whole life where she's doing a lot of things which she could not tell that guy in the past. So she has to keep pretending that, oh, I'm going out to meet my friends or I'm doing something else every time she walks out of the apartment. And whenever she walks out of the apartment, she usually goes back to the present. And sometimes when she opens the door to the apartment, she goes to the past, sometimes she doesn't. So we see till half of the book, we kind of see this going back to the past, coming to the present, going back to the past. But those two lines never meet until like most of the first half of the book. But that's when I started thinking that wait, does this even like collide these two worlds? Because obviously, what is the story if they don't collide, right? And I kept thinking like, oh wait, how are they going to solve this plot hole? Because it feels like a plot hole. But don't worry, everything gets resolved in this book because it's like it's done so well. It's a 5 on 5 read for me. So yeah, in the second half, you're going to see how the two worlds collide, and she does end up meeting the guy again in the present. For him, it's been 7 years, but for her, it was just yesterday where she was talking to him. So we also see that parts where her mind is a little glitchy because to her, it was just yesterday that she was talking to him, and he's like, okay, I won't tell you what he says, but yeah, this book is so damn well, and magical realism, when done right, can be super beautiful. I have read a couple of books where I could not get past a couple of chapters because of how in the face the magical realism is, but in this book the focus is more on the romance, right? How different her behavior is with the guy in the past and how it's in the present, and how she interprets the situations, how she has to talk to him, and all these things are basically romance, right? So it's not really in your face, but it's the main premise. So yeah, I think you'll love this book. If you haven't read this book yet, please pick it up in 2025 because it's worth it. I also want to read Ashley Poston's another book. It's The Dead Romantics. I have not read it yet, but I hear that it's a similar premise of something with magical realism, supernatural something. So I'm really excited for that. If you have read it, please let me know. Yeah, thank you.